Oop, I'll be right back. We're locked in portrait mode. Oh no. What was that? Just a moment here. We've got an ad playing. And thanks, YouTube. Okay, that's better. Scared me for a second. Okay, so because I'm afraid of screwing this up, and I don't want to lose the stream here, and then make everybody run around, we're gonna do this like this. Didn't know this was gonna happen. Again, apologies, but that's fine. And you know what? We can pull this right in a bit. Even better. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Figure this out. We'll get this going bug-free sooner or later. Eric here. Welcome. Thanks for joining me. I noticed we've got about 40 or so people. First early bird gets the worm, Pablo, my man Pablo from Argentina, who is a martial artist. I know he's written me and told me about some of the feedback he's gotten, which is pretty cool. Using some of my courses to kick higher, to keep his martial arts game going strong. So good to see you, Pablo, and a lot of other people here that I recognize. Shar, Kirk, lots of people. Anyway, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Eric Wong, and I'm coming to you live from my basement in Toronto, Ontario, where I am in voluntary self-isolation. And I started doing these because I just wanted to bring some connection. At the same time, I thought it'd be cool, not just to hang out and drink beer on Zoom or something, which is fine, but to do some movement and to teach you guys some unique exercises to improve your mobility and to help you feel better, help you move better, and help you, when you eventually can leave your house and do the things that you love, you can get back there and do them well. Okay? So we do these every Tuesday, 2 Tuesdays in a row now. That's pretty good. Every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern and every Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern. And if you like Europeans, a lot of Europeans typically show up to that one. So join me on Friday and you can meet some Euros. Okay, so today, what are we doing? Kind of tentative title is 5 exercises to activate, lengthen, and strengthen and fix your psoas. So why are we going to do this? Why are we going to focus on the psoas? One, because the psoas, like any other muscle, needs to be trained and it needs to be strengthened, it needs to have proper, whatever that is for you and your sport, range of motion, it needs to have strength, needs to activate, first of all, before any of those things. So that's why we're in the psoas, and it's often neglected. People, trainers, the internet, kind of general internet consensus, I guess. If you search the psoas, you'll often find just stretching or lengthening type of stuff. Not too much activation, not too much strengthening. And that's unfortunate because the psoas, I should have pulled out my spine. The psoas originates on the lumbar spine, and then it crosses down, passes through over the pelvis, joins up with the iliacus muscle that originates on the pelvis and goes right into the top of the femur, the thigh bone. Movement contributes to is hip flexion, okay, this kind of thing. Knee up, hip flexion. And also, because if you think about, it started on the lumbar spine, so it probably has some influence on the lumbar spine. Well, what does it do? Extension of the lumbar spine. And you're going to learn today, one of the exercises I'm going to teach, the first exercise that we're going to go through today, actually. And you need a chair, somewhere to sit down, not on the floor. You need a chair for this one, okay? So scramble, go right now, grab yourself a chair so you can do that technique. I'm going to grab my chair. Should have mentioned that at the start. Anyway, it's helpful and it contributes to lumbar extension. And lumbar extension is a position that a lot of people have lost because when you're sitting, you tend to slump down. The lumbar spine goes into flexion. You lose the ability to extend the lumbar spine. And what happens, the problem with that is we get into something that's called lumbar spine flexion dysfunction, where being in that flex position all the time causes some problem. Oftentimes it's a problem with the disc, but it doesn't always have to be, and that results in pain. So we're going to work the psoas, and you're going to learn how to activate it and get it contributing to both extension of the lumbar spine and flexion of the hip. Okay, and one thing that you might notice is you might get to feel it a little bit more, and you just build that kinesthetic awareness of this muscle. So you get to feel it, you know where it is, and you know when it's firing, and then you can get it working when you need it to work. So I'm just going to grab my chair. I actually forgot to plan for this. I have a better chair, but we're going to use my office chair. Okay, there it is. So you need a chair, preferably one that's a little more stable, but this is fine. And you're just going to sit at the edge of the chair, and let me just double check, make sure everybody's okay here. All right, people seem to be fine. That's good to hear. Okay, so we are going to do this technique. So the first technique is the seated psoas activation. Dun, 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 dun. It is in the description as well, so you can follow, check that in between and after. And we're going to do a few reps. I'm not super set on the reps, but I posted them here just to keep myself on track. So seated psoas activation. Now, this is a great position to activate the psoas because we're kind of relaxed and we can just isolate it really easily. So we're going to do one at a time. We're going to do 3 per side. We'll finish all the reps on one side, then we'll go to the other side. First thing you want to do, slump. So round the lumbar spine a little bit, slump down, get lazy posture, bad posture. Let the hip fall out a little bit. So you go into external rotation, a little bit of hip abduction, and you're going to place the same side hand on the thigh or the VMO there, okay? And just think of lifting, stay in this slumpy posture. Think of lifting the foot off the floor. It's not really going to come off the floor, but I'm activating. Now I want you to put your finger in this area, kind of, if you find the hip bone, the pointy hip bone, just medial to it inside, then just kind of feel, do that a couple times. Activate and then relax. Activate and relax. You should feel some muscle pop out and push your finger out. Now, if you've done my TFL solution program, you know this well, or if you've gone through the 5-day hip mobility challenge, then you know this as well, but some little tweaks here that I've come up with since, okay? Just little activations like that. Do the other side, see what it feels like. Put your finger in there, palpate, find the hip bone, go medial a little bit, let the knee fall out, slump, hand on the VMO, the inner quad, and then just the floor, foot's not really coming up off the floor, but you're intending to do that, and then you're resisting it with your hand. Okay, and if you feel a little bulge there and that muscle working, good. Next, switch sides again. Now we're just going to work this side. What I want you to do is activate, get that same activation. Oh, there's psoas. Hello, how are you? Okay, we're going to work you a little bit today. You might feel you tomorrow. That's fine. Hold that, breathe, strong contraction. We're going to work it now. Now you're slumpy. Now I want you to maintain that activation. You can let go. You don't have to poke yourself. And then go into lumbar extension, anterior pelvic tilt. Keep that activation of the psoas going, like you're trying to push your knee into your hand. Hold it there. And you might have felt like, whoa, what was that? Hold it. Should be activated in there. Should be getting more intense. And then gradually relax and let down and slump down. Okay? What did we do there? We pre-activated the psoas, and then we shortened the psoas through the hips not moving, but the lumbar is extending. Ooh. Okay, this is some voodoo. Okay, let's do that again. Pre-activate, slump down. Okay, there's psoas. My foot, my knee is driving into the hand. I'm trying to flex the hip. Then slowly go into lumbar extension, like I'm rolling over my pelvis. I'll show you the side view next. Hold it strong. You might feel a little bit of crampy, kind of medial. That's good. In here, hold it and come out of it, relax, easy, and down. Okay, let me show you the side view. This chair came in handy. Okay, slump down. It's like posterior pelvic tilt, lumbar flexion, rounded here. Last one. Let the knee flop out a little bit. Activate the psoas. Drive the knee into the hand. I can feel it. Okay. Now I keep that activation going as I slowly go into anterior pelvic tilt. lumbar extending. See my lumbar extension there. And I'm working that psoas in the shortened range, so I'm going to really feel it. Hold, breathe. And let's let it out easy. Okay, nice. Other side. Now I have a little active office worker series on YouTube here where you could do a bunch of moves like this in your chair. So if you're working at home like me and you're just sitting there all day now, they're beneficial. Okay, same thing. Here we go. Let the knee flop out, hand on the VMO. Activate, drive the knee into the hand. Hello, psoas. And I'm slumpy, and I'm going into extension of the lumbar spine. Hold. Oh yeah. Try and think of pulling that femur into the hip joint socket. We're going to talk about that more in a few exercises. And then gradually relax and just slump out. Okay? Don't just flop out. Gradually relax and get out of the move. Activate. I'm slumpy. Hold. And then roll into extension. Hello, psoas. You shouldn't be feeling too much TFL, which is more lateral, attached to the IT band. Hold. Activate that guy. Oh, that's it. There it is. And relax. And down. Okay. We want more in the inside, not so much on the outside. TFL, psoas. Last one. Activate. There it is. And then go into anterior pelvic tilt, lumbar extension. Keep activating. Use the psoas to pull me into that position. This is a deep muscle, which is why we often don't feel it. And relax. Okay. Come out of it easy, gradually. Stand up. And actually, I would love to know how that felt. Okay, before moving on, because I'm feeling it. I'm feeling like my psoas is woken up a little bit, but I want to know how you're feeling. So hit me up. Let's put this computer up here so I can see your comments a little easier. Trinidad, Roseanne Garvin. Wow. Chimey asks, how do you know that you're activating psoas and not the abs? You do want to activate the abs still, totally fine. But to come into lumbar extension, you can't use abdominals to do that. They might be on, but the psoas is going to be working. The abs are a flexor of the spine, not an extender of the spine. So if you're getting into that movement, some co-contraction will happen because you're controlling the movement, you're going slowly, but the psoas is going to be working. Lumbar extensors might be working a little bit, but with that pre-activation, that's why we do that first and not just try to do that movement right away. Okay? Definitely ab bracing, another comment here. All right, so leave your comments in, and here's a little tip. If you have any questions related to exercise, post them, when I'm demonstrating that exercise, or if you think about it afterwards. But if you think of it afterwards, or you have some other question, wait till the end to post it. It'll be a way easier for me to see those questions and then answer them, as opposed to going through all the chat messages there. Okay? All right, let's move on. This is a good one. This is called the supine leg slide to hip bridge. Now, this isn't necessarily an exercise. It's more of a sequence. And we're doing this one to train hip joint centration. Okay? So oftentimes, or not oftentimes, we need the head of the humerus, the head of the femur, they're ball and socket joints. We need them to be centered in that socket. And it's not like it's going to be out here. If that happens, it's a dislocation and you should just leave here and put your mask on and go to the hospital. But sometimes they'll just move out a little bit, and that can cause issues. It can cause issues like impingement on other tendons, on articular tissues, cartilage, bones. Stuff can get pinched in there, and it's not good. Also changes the line of force of muscles, and it shuts off some muscles if it's the head of the femur or the humerus is not centered in that socket. So it's an important concept. This exercise is going to help to teach that. Need you on the floor for this supine position. Wearing a hat all the time now because I can't get my hair cut. I'm looking like Krusty the Clown. Long hair on the sides, nothing on top. It's not a good look for me. Anyway, you don't need super slidey floor, but a little bit of slide is good. You don't want super grip shoes on. What we're going to do, supine leg slide. First, let's do that. All you're doing is kind of lightly sliding your feet towards you. My mat might crumple a little bit and I might get rid of it. That's okay, just like that. Now, typically when people do this, go back out, do this with me, you'll feel a lot of hamstring, which is cool. You want to feel hamstring. But what I want you to do, and you're here for psoas, is think about psoas activating to pull you in. So you might go into a bit of anterior tilt. Hamstrings will still be on, all good. But activate, mind to muscle, psoas. And because we activated it already, you should feel it even a little bit better. Okay, so that's the supine leg slide part. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to transition into hip bridge. But when we do that, I don't want you to let go of the psoas. Keep that thing activated, and you'll see what happens. Okay, actually, let's do this as a little interesting test. Bring your feet flat in, just kind of do that, and then bridge up. And just feel kind of what your quad and your hips feel like. Okay, glutes feel like. What position you're in, what your back feels like. Notice all that. We'll hang out here for a second. Just notice what's activating, what the position is. Develop some kinesthetic awareness here. We'll keep holding just to see what fatigues, what starts to fatigue, and then go down. Okay? Now, we're going to go into supine leg slide. We're going to start with that, and then we're going to go into the hip bridge, nice and slow. So it looks like this. Watch me first. Activating psoas. That's my primary activation there. Keep it on, foot flat, keep it on. Go all the way up, under control, into the hip bridge. Don't let go of that psoas. Should be on the whole time. And then you let it down under control. Keep the psoas on though. And then keep the psoas on through the eccentric. Okay? That's what it is. We're going to do this now together. 3 reps, 5-second hold, or maybe 5 reps. Slide, activate the psoas. Keep breathing. Feet flat. Keep the psoas on. Glutes are on. Keep the psoas on. It's going to lengthen. Keep the psoas on. Hold it. Notice what that feels like. We're holding, breathing. Down under control. Keep the psoas on. Keep the psoas on. We're going to lengthen. Eccentric. Keep the psoas on. Okay. Again. Supine leg slide. Psoas on. Hip flexion. Feet flat. Keep the psoas on. Up. Your focus is on psoas. Breathe. Keep the psoas on the whole time. Keep activating. Even if you think nothing's going on, keep your intention there. Keep it on as you lengthen it. We're going to do one more rep. Okay? Relax it all. And then one more time. Feet flat. Up. Keep it on. Keep it on. I feel that. It's on. And then on down under control. And then straighten the legs. Keeping the psoas on. Okay. Now, just kind of notice what that was for you. And it could be different for everybody. So what I say might not necessarily apply to you. But, well, jot down what your comment is first before I feed you stuff. And you're just not in agreement. Okay? Real quick, just get some awareness there. Notice what that felt like versus the first time we did it in the test when you did the hip bridge, what muscles activated, what relaxed, what was more activated, how it felt, the position, all that stuff. And let me just check, see if there's any feedback here. Kirk is asking, so anterior pelvic tilt through the whole movement to keep the psoas on. Not necessarily, you can do that, but you don't have to anteriorly pelvic tilt to activate a muscle. For example, bicep is a flexor of the elbow. My bicep's on there, but I didn't flex my elbow at all, okay? I just contracted the muscles. And we know we can do this with biceps because especially guys are, you know, which way to the beach. But so that's, you don't always have to move to activate a muscle. But for these other muscles like psoas, the deeper muscles that we don't have as much, I guess, skill with activating or kinesthetic awareness built up, then yeah, some movement might help you there. Okay. Okay. So Leslie Mitchell is a good question. Should you only bridge as high as you can maintain psoas on? Yes, exactly. So that is where the hip joint, thank you for asking that question. That's such a good question. It's almost like I planted you here. So that's something that I wanted somebody to experience, is that when you do the hip bridge, a lot of times people do these bridges, you see them, Instagram, Buttstagram I call it. It's all girls trying to get big butts so they could take pictures on Instagram. You bridge up and it's like boom, you throw your hips up like that. The head of the femur is like jutting out of the front of your hip here. You got kinks in your spine and there's no centration going on there at all. But when you have everything on, the co-contraction keeps it, think of it, muscle on this side contracting, muscle on this side contracting. They're even, they're not, one's not jerking the other out of position. Okay, and you keep them on the whole time. When you go up, you only have a certain range of motion before you'll just pop out of it. Okay, and then the psoas is off and centration is gone. Okay, this is what I wanted you to get. You could only go so far until you lose that. So it's really important to understand where that point is, and it's different for everybody, but discover that point, and then you can start to use that when you're doing bridges, but also when you're doing squats. Pop in the, again, same thing, except I'm standing and as opposed to lying supine, okay? Head of the femur pops out into the front of the body here, juts out, lumbar spine extends, glutes are on, sure, but we've lost centration, we've lost function, overdeveloping strength and a specific muscle group over overall joint health and function. So awesome, thank you for that question. You make my life easier. Okay. Jake, hey sir, yes, to your question. So digging my fingers into the medial side of the hip bones, right in here. What I feel activating and contracting is the psoas. Could be some rec fem. If the muscle connects and it goes all the way down there, that's the rectus femoris. Medial to that, you'll find psoas, okay? Kind of get through it a little bit, but it's in and around that area. So that's the supine leg side to hip bridge, little sequence there. It's a great one to train the all-important concept of joint centration, which is getting your joint to move the way it's supposed to in the most efficient pattern in a way that's not going to damage that joint and impinge other structures. Next up, I'm going to have to alter this camera a little bit here so you can see my beam. Okay, so supported psoas sweeps. So sprinters often do a technique like this. You're going to need a wall for this. So you do need some equipment here, a chair and a wall. Hopefully you have that stuff. If you don't, I'd love to visit you because I want to know where you're streaming this from. But supported, okay? I have this beam, which is awesome, but a wall works fine as long as you don't go through it. You're not putting too much weight through it. You're not pushing into it. You're just supporting yourself. A little bit of a lean, a little bit of a body lean, so you can see that there. Okay? And then sprinters often do this technique. It's just pure, what muscle am I working? Guess what? Psoas. Hip flexion. To sprint fast, you need to be able to pull that up. Okay. Now, what happens is if your psoas doesn't work well, then you can just throw it out. You limit your range of motion here. We've been working the shortened range of motion. So with the hip flexed, if you don't have much of this, you can only go here. Your stride length is going to suffer. Okay. As opposed to here, stride length. Okay. Here, stride length. See where my foot would land? Stride length. Okay. Simple example of how the psoas contributes to performance. Just pulling that leg through real fast. All right. So this is just going to open that, activate that pattern and open up the space a little bit. Because what we're going to do is you got your lean going on, activate, hold there, maintain core alignment, spinal alignment, and then, hey, last week's YouTube live, how you doing? Horizontal hip extension. Psoas sweeps. Okay, so you just do 3 sweeps. The whole while here, the key is I'm trying to drive my knee higher and higher the whole time. I'm moving into horizontal extension, but I'm trying to get my knee as high as possible. Let's do one more. I'm going to tell you different cues as we go here. And then we're going to switch. Down under control, don't just flop. Okay, because then we activate, keep the psoas on, eccentrically lengthen it, maintain that hip joint centration. Switch sides. Now cue. Think of your support leg, solid knee is almost locked out, not totally locked out, but straight, it's solid. Glutes on, core is on, braced here. Hip flexion, my body doesn't move. I'm preventing all movement, as much movement as possible in my body. Maximizing hip flexion. We're going to sweep 1, 2, 3. This is 2. Maximize that hip flexion. Elbows stay locked out, okay? Under control down. Switch. Hip flexion. Out. Don't turn the torso. Keep the abs on. Keep the opposite glute on. 2. Maximize hip flexion. Keep that knee driving up high, up high, up high. Get out as far as you can. Sweep it out. And then down. Place it on the ground under control. Up. So it's similar to that dissociation technique we did last week, but a little bit different. More bracing, more isolation. 2. 3. Okay, you might feel some fatigue here. That's good. Let's do one more on each side. So when I flex my hip, just one thing to notice, I'm not doing that. Maintaining my alignment in the spine, pure hip flexion. So it's on. Helps to look straight ahead. So as you're doing that, now that you know the move, just look straight ahead. Just sweeping. You can hold the end range a little bit. Last one, up. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and down. Okay, a little breather. Any questions on that one? Comments? Leave them in there. Leave them in the chat. I gotta get a drink. This will be fun. I just love this technique that's coming up next. Okay. So any questions or comments about that one, please let me know. I'm gonna adjust you. So I don't know how you guys are perceiving this YouTube or the portrait versus the landscape. Let me know. Curious about that as well, because this happened by accident, but to me it seems okay. Maybe it's not quite as good. Just looking at it there. I'm going to bring in. Okay. So let me just check if there's any questions here, comments that are cool. How do you make it not a TFL exercise, or is it meant to be? Okay, so TFL, there's a few things. Usually activation helps. So we did all the pre-activation stuff that helps. But if you're getting too much TFL, Charlie, hey, what's up, Charlie? No, it's been a while. If you're getting TFL a little too sore here, or not sore, but it's activating too much, that's an issue because it's compensating. It's doing more than it's supposed to. The psoas should be working more, the TFL should be working less there. A couple things, you can really reef on the muscle before you do the exercise, like hard massage in the TFL. That helps to shut it off a little bit. You stretch it before you do the exercise, helps to shut it off again. If you find it's still going when you're doing the technique, is instead of pure hip flexion, do a little external rotation and a little bit of horizontal extension, okay? As opposed to coming straight up here, you're just out here. You're still trying to drive that knee up, but you're going from this position and then out and then in, okay? That targets psoas more, less TFL, so that'll help. Can I talk louder? I can. My mic's all right. Can you turn your volume up? I'm curious about that, no, honestly. If anybody else thinks I'm talking a little quiet, just let me know. Dr. B, what if you feel the hips snap when you're doing this? Okay. What I find with that one is often it's the psoas turning off and on through the range. So if the psoas isn't on the whole time, the hip will clunk. So what I would do is, and I know you're going through hip control, you're going to work those supine leg slides, which should help to, you're going to train keeping the psoas on through the full range, concentrically and then eccentrically. And that often helps to prevent or stop that clunking from happening, because it's keeping that head of the femur in the joint throughout that concentric to eccentric. Okay? All right. Let's move on. Graham Reed, am I going to be too sore to surf tomorrow morning? Screw you, buddy. Surfing tomorrow morning? I hope so. I hope you can't surf tomorrow. I'm going to do extra for you. I love surfing. Envious. Supine hip PNF. This is an oldie but goodie. One of my favorite techniques. So supine, let's get down on the floor. So a couple cues. I'll show you one rep. But a couple cues is the knee stays locked out the whole time. All the stuff that we worked on in terms of psoas, you want to do that. So keeping it on throughout the ranges, throughout the movement, and think of pulling the femur, the leg, into the socket. So you're pulling that leg in, you're sucking it into the hip joint, okay? So supine hip PNF, what we're going to do is this. We're going to start hip flexion. Ankle can be relaxed so you don't stress out the nerve. Get to your full range, but don't push it. Don't really push it now. And then out. Think of external rotation as you go out. As far to the floor as you can. Both knees are straight, and then down. Internal rotation as you come in. Come across your body a little bit. And then flex. Think of sit bones on the floor evenly. Okay? So you're not on one side of the pelvis more than the other. External rotation as you go out. Keep thinking of pulling the hip up, flexing the hip, and then down, sweep the floor, internal rotation so the toe turns in, sweeping up, across the midline of the body, up, sweep out, knee stays locked. Okay, keep flexing the hip, keep pulling the toe up high towards your head as you drop out, and then sweep it together. And we'll do a couple in the opposite direction, all right? So external rotation, both knees are locked, even weight distribution on the pelvis, the sit bones, the ischiums back there. Up, knees locked, sweep, keep the foot driving this way. Across the body, internal rotation. Do one more on this side. up, flex the hip, knee stays locked, internally rotate, and down. Okay, we're gonna switch sides. So now we're starting to integrate a little more movement, greater range of motion. So to start off, internal rotation. Flex the hip and adduct. So coming across my body, crossing the midline, up. And each rep, you could push the range a little more. Get my arm out of the way. Sit bones, even on the pelvis, on the butt there. External rotation there. Sweep it down. And we'll do 2 in each direction. So I'm working you, but I'm more introducing you to these movements. You could find stuff that you want to use. Maybe wake up muscles. That's why we're here. Okay, we'll change directions. External rotation. Keep the knee locked. Butt cheeks are even. Flex. Keep driving the foot up as I sweep across the front of my body. Ooh, rec fem. It's working hard. Internal rotation and down. Big circle. Breathing. Relax the neck. External rotation as I'm out. Sweep across. Internal rotation and down. Okay? Supine hip PNF. See, I got Krusty the Clown. Nothing on top. It's all coming down on the sides. Maybe I'll turn my mic up a little bit. Figure out how to do that another time. Okay, so that's supine hip PNF. So that obviously is bringing the hip joint through most of its range of motion, just not too much extension, but everything else. Internal, external rotation, flexion, extend, a little bit of extension, and then abduction, adduction. So fully integrated movement. It's really important there that you keep the knees locked out, you keep breathing, and you keep the butt cheeks even on the ground, okay? Because when you're outside, you'll want to lean over to this side as my leg is sweeping out, and then as the leg is coming across the body, you'll want to lean over that way. Keep the butt cheeks even, and then just focus on circling the head of the femur in the acetabulum there. Okay, now we're going to do a little bit of work. So we've done a lot of psoas. That's 4 psoas exercises there. Recap. I like doing this. Seated psoas activation, supine leg slide to hip bridge sequence, supported psoas sweeps, supine hip PNF. Now we're doing the tricep. So this is just to get a little bit of work in, get some other exercises, muscles, and body parts working and going. So here we go. Prone, extended, shoulder, kickbacks. I'm reading that backwards. It's good for my brain. 3 reps, 5 seconds. Oh, speaking of brains, I got something cool to tell you about after. BJJ, quad stretch, and sit through. So let me demonstrate each of these real quick. I'm not going to go as in depth. Prone, extended, kickback. I can actually move closer now because portrait. So prone position, down, fist in the ground. Think of retracting the scapula, pinching them together, try and touch the elbows behind my back, lift the fist off the ground, keep the humerus where it is in space, extend the elbows, hold it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then down. Trying to sweep, and then you're going to repeat. Okay, so that's prone extended kickback. BJJ quad stretch. We've been flexing the hips now a lot, so we're going to rebalance and extend the hips. Left hand, right foot. So opposites are posted on the ground. Just going to come up. Stretch a little bit. You don't have to get the knee to the ground. And then down. Switch. Just to rebalance that hip a little bit. Working lots of flexion. Now just make sure we have extension. There we go. Great for dorsiflexion, mobilizing the ankle as well. BJJ quad stretch, and then the sit through. Sit through, you're in like a 4-point position. Pop your knees off the ground, and then again opposites. Touch the butt down. I like to keep the elbow straight so the movement's coming from my scapula, but I'm picky about that kind of thing. You should be too. Touch down. Sit through. Okay, so let's do that. Little tricep. Prone extended shoulder kickback, 3 reps times 5 seconds. Go right into the BJJ quad stretch for 5 reps per, and then the sit through for 5 reps per. Head down, fists into the ground. Retract the scapula, pinch the shoulder blades together. Lift the fist, then extend and hold. 2, 3, 4, 5. Down under control. Touch the ground, up. 2, 3, 4, 5. To the ground, under control. One more. Pinch the scapula, extend the elbows. 2, 3, 4, 5. Under control and down. Right into the BJJ quad stretch. Whoosh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right into the sit through. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathing. 6. Smooth movements. 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's one circuit. So get the heart rate up a little bit. Activating, working mobility. That's a good thing. I'm gonna take a quick drink. I want to do that one more time. Oops. I'm getting over the top breath. Relaxed. Okay, one more circuit. One more tricep. Prone extended, kick back. Fist in the ground. Lengthen the spine. Ready, set, go. Fists up. Keep the humerus where it is in space, and just extend and hold. Try and touch the arms together. 4, 5, down under control. And again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One more. Pinch those shoulder blades. Try and touch the fists together. 5, and down. BJJ quad stretch. 1, 2. Lengthen. Think of squeezing the glute at the bottom there. To really extend the hip. 6. Breathing. 9. 10. To the sit through. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can bring your hand up in the guard, little jiu-jitsu type movement. 8, 9. Blocking your face from being kicked, basically. And 10. Okay. That's the workout. Mobility, strength. So, catch your breath. Let me sit down with you for a bit. And I'm going to wrap it up. But before I do, I want to thank you guys, everybody who came out with me, worked out with me today. I like doing these. I like connecting. I like teaching. And I love it when people appreciate that. So thank you. Before I answer any questions, next workout is Friday at 1 Eastern. So make sure you're subscribed. If you're on YouTube, turn that bell on so you get notifications. And or visit precisionmovement.coach. There's a link down in the description. And subscribe to the newsletter. And you'll be notified that way as well. And I always send out other stuff on my newsletter. Not always movement stuff, typically related, but sometimes it's more personal there, I find. In terms of stuff that we did today, Psoas, really focused on the Psoas. Like I said, super important, neglected, unfortunately and unjustly, I guess, vilified muscle group that you need to work. And this workout is a great place to start. My hip control course is more comprehensive and hits everything, not just Psoas. So check it out. You can see that at precisionmovement.coach/hip-control, or just go there, find the store, and you'll see it linked in the courses on that page as well. Okay. The other thing I'm super pumped about, the ROM Coach mobile app. It's coming out this month. Okay, we're on track. So hit rom.coach, ROM, range of motion, rom.coach/wait, and that'll take you to a waiting list just so you're on the early bird notification list for that. All right. So let me see here. I'm going to stand. I don't want to sit. Been enough flex tip for now. Let me see here. Any questions? Yeah, thank you all for coming. Chris, Plant Tech, you're going to get some Aussies on for me? Cool. So Leslie, here's a question. From Leslie, I have a client whose psoas often hurts her. Would some of these exercises help to alleviate her discomfort? Quite possibly. Obviously, I don't know exactly what's going on and why the psoas is hurting, and when this all started, and if there's other pathology that might be there. Maybe you know better than I. But if it's a muscle, like a chronic nagging muscle pain that's not super debilitating, activating it is helpful. Activating it gets blood flow and it wakes it up, gets function. The brain sees this muscle and is like, oh, this isn't just this dead piece of meat here. I'm going to start using it in everyday life. And it starts to contract and expand and lengthen, and the tissue quality improves. So definitely these exercises, as long as there's no kind of contraindicated pathology happening there, try it out. At most, you'll do one of the first activation exercise, and you'll find out right away. Like if it's a sharp pain, stop. Okay, go get that checked out. Maybe there's some other issue there that needs to be dealt with. But if it's just a nagging pain and activating, it tends to feels a little bit better, then keep going. Just ramp it up slowly. Don't throw maybe all of this stuff at this person at once. Start with activation, do that for a week or two, and then layer on the other exercises. Okay? So try that out. Hopefully it helps. Probably will. But just buyer beware on that one, because I don't know who this person is at all. Never seen them. So I think that's it. I'm going to check my volume when I get this video back just to see. A couple people said it was a little low. Some people said it was okay, but we'll see. All right. Well, that's it. It's almost 9 o'clock. I'm going to get to bed soon. Again, thank you very much for joining me here, and hope to see you soon. All right. Have a good night.